Hey PA junkies, how's it going? My name is Kat, and I'm so glad to have you here in my little nook of the interwebs. If you're new here, welcome on in. I talk all things Pennsylvania, my native state, also known by fellow state natives as PA. I'm putting that in air quotes. If you know, you know, which might seem really boring to you, but PA is actually quite fascinating from the history, the quirks, the regional dialects. It's like a three for one kind of deal. I say three for one because it's like having three states in one. And if you've traveled and lived across the state, you get me. You know what I mean. Speaking of which, I've had the interesting experience of living and traveling all over the state. I was born and raised in Western PA. I studied journalism in Central PA. And I've lived in Southeastern PA now for the last almost 10 years. And I have to say this, in over 3 decades of living in this Commonwealth, I still learn something new every single day about this spectacle of a state. Fun fact, I also competed in the Miss Pennsylvania program, which is a prelim to Miss America, and I did that for about 10 years, which was a very interesting experience and allowed me the opportunity to travel all over the state, doing appearances in small rural towns to big cities and everywhere in between. So it's safe to say I've been geeking out about PA for quite some time now. All that said, if you like the strange, the creepy, the fun, the healing, from PA true crime to PA nature, PA paranormal, all the things, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button to be alerted for future videos on my channel, which air every Wednesday. So for those who have not been following me on social media for the last few years, I post a lot of PA content, obviously, and a lot of that content is based on PA true crime and PA paranormal stuff, even like PA folklore and PA legends. We love it all. And so many of you have shared in the comment sections of these videos, in my email, in my DMs, everywhere in between. You guys have shared your experiences with PA paranormal, PA legends, even true crime stories that are close to you for whatever reason, maybe even someone you knew. It's just been so interesting reading your stories. So I decided at some point, I've got to share these stories in future PA Junkie content. So I created a form, and that form is linked in the description of this video, and it will be linked in the description of all future videos here on my channel. I created this form that you can fill out to share your creepy PA stories, whether that's PA true crime or a paranormal experience that you had, or maybe even just something really strange that happened to you in your adventures here in the Commonwealth. We are here for it all. Like, nothing is off limits. So go ahead and click the link in the description of this video if you want to submit your creepy PA story to be featured in future videos. This form has also helped the organizational side of my brain significantly. It's so zen and wonderful. Like, thank goodness to have all these stories in one place. It's so helpful. Without further ado, let's get started with today's PA creepy story, which is the very first of the series, and actually a story that's more healing to me and validating above all else. You're gonna love this one. It's wild. I'm gonna read these stories to you guys as people have submitted them. In some cases, people send me links and they don't really share their story in first person, which I always like reading first person because it's more like you're journaling and documenting your experience as it happens. This story was submitted by Sam from the West End of Pittsburgh, represent, and it instantly rocked my world. Get ready for this one. This is what Sam shares. Me and my cousins were hanging out at Laurel State Park down by the lake. Now, if you look up Laurel State Park, there are multiple Laurel parks across the Commonwealth. Like, there's one in Reading, there are several. So I'm gonna assume that because Sam is located in the West End of Pittsburgh, we're talking Laurel Park in Western PA, down by the lake. Anyway, back to Sam's story. It was late, maybe 10 o'clock, and we were checking out the blood moon. After about 30 minutes of hanging out and smoking a little tree, okay, Sam, we started to hear drum beats, loud and echoing down the hillside. They progressively got louder, and then chanting started. No sooner did the chanting start that we heard a woman wailing, crying like she'd lost a child. We sat for maybe another 10 minutes before we got in my dad's old Saturn Ion and booked it back to the cabin we were staying at. I didn't sleep for 2 days, and I still can't explain what happened. This was maybe in 2012 or 2013. And that's all Sam shared. But with that short story, I have a lot to say. First of all, thank you, Sam, for sharing this. And also, weird. I'm gonna assume, just based on what Sam shared, that there was absolutely no one around, which is why they were so freaked out about this. I know people are gonna ask, oh, maybe it was just someone by the lake, or maybe there was someone nearby, but I'm pretty sure Sam is sharing this because that was not the case. So it was like extra weird for that reason. I immediately thought about the chanting, the drums. Of course, my brain goes to Native American tribes. What we don't talk about enough is that so much of the land in PA was once home to Native American tribes. And this is the case in a lot of states of early colonization, where they possibly sitting on what was once native land and potentially hearing some sort of ritual. I mean, that would make so much sense to me, especially given that this was happening during the blood moon. And I'm all about the spiritual side of things, and the moon represents so many things: cleansing, rebirth, change. Sometimes for certain religions, it symbolizes an omen or a premonition of war and disaster. I was reading and I was researching about this, and one of the things that I read was that Julius Caesar died and there was a blood moon that night. So that's a little weird. Another thing I had to research was that area of Pennsylvania, and that area in particular was home to a lot of native tribes, including the Algonquin, the Iroquois, Monongahela, all very interesting. But what's even more interesting, like I mentioned before, is the significance of the blood moon. Another take on this is some Christian groups who look at the blood moon as a sign of the apocalypse or the coming of Christ. Now, as interesting as all of that is, of course, I had the question of Native American tribes specifically and what they view the blood moon to be. And the answers that I found were all over the place, because for different Native American tribes, the blood moon can symbolize and signify different things. For some Native American tribes, the blood moon can indicate a time of cleansing, rebirth, new opportunity. And I will read to you what I found about these differing views of what the blood moon is for different Native American tribes. For some Native American tribes, the blood moon is an opportunity for ultimate cleansing and releasing of chaos, disruption, pain, and fear. Of course, I also went on to TikTok because in the past, I've seen a lot of people post about their Native American culture on TikTok. So I looked up the blood moon and what that means for different Native American tribes. And one of the things that I discovered in someone's video is that the Navajos, for example, they're actually not to look at an eclipse, and they are to stay inside, pray, and be still. This is a time for fasting, no eating or drinking. I thought that was really interesting and very beautiful, because for me, I find so much solace in just being with myself in times of healing and releasing pain, chaos, disruption, all of the things. So I love that. For other cultures and groups, a blood moon is where the earth and sky are in balance. Now, to add to this, there is an event that happens every 18 years. You've heard of it before, a total solar eclipse, when the earth, sun, and moon are in complete perfect harmony and alignment and balance. And that perfect alignment for certain groups can indicate a time for new beginnings. Sam's story clearly took me down a rabbit hole, and that was the general theme: the moon events, all of those things. But one of the things I really wanted to know more about was the woman that Sam and their cousins heard wailing, crying as if she had lost a child, which is what they specifically quoted in their story. And I just wanted to know, what is the significance of the blood moon with women? Because if it's what I initially thought when I was reading this, I'll be pretty validated. So before I even share with you what I found in my research about women and the blood moon, I just want to say it's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful, and it's something that we in Western culture do not practice enough of. I will read this from an article I found on thejunecup.com, and it says, the coming of age ceremonies and initiations into distinct elements of a woman's moon, in parentheses menstruation, have been generally performed through sacred rites, shifting young girls towards a spiritual path to embrace their newly acquired powers and to explore the beauty of their womanhood through the relationship with the earth, nature, and of course, the moon. In contrast with the modern Western idea of treating menstruation as taboo or impure, Indigenous communities have treated this special time as a sacred communal process to assist young women with finding a path to a healthy spirit and as a welcome to their powerful being. And that is on healing. That's the way it should be, y'all. I just found that to be so interesting. So going back to Sam's story, I know we went on this research-ridden adventure together, but it would make all the sense to me that it was something dealing with menstruation, birthing, possibly even grieving a child. I think from Sam's perspective, it sounded as if this woman was in distress. So maybe that, or maybe it could be one of those general themes we had talked about in releasing pain, releasing fear, and protecting oneself from any future chaos and disruption. One of the things that I have been doing in the last few years in my own healing journey is going to an empty place, like maybe even my car, but sometimes a field, whatever I'm being called to scream it out. Like, let out whatever emotions are holding me hostage in this lifetime. And that might be quite alarming for some of the people around who heard it. They have no idea what's going on. So in this way, I found Sam's story to be quite validating from a healing perspective. I thought that was very interesting. But I really want to know what you guys think about this. I want to hear your thoughts. So leave them in the comments. If you also have any cultural insight on what I shared today, please feel free, if your heart is open to it, to share it in the comments. I'm always open to educating myself, and it's not that you're responsible for my education. I just really like to hear about your stories and your experiences. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching and for your support. I really appreciate you being here. I'm happy to have you here. If you have a spooky, creepy, thrilling PA story to share, go check out the link in the description of this video to submit your story to be featured in future videos here on my channel. And if this kind of content aligns with you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to be notified for future videos that air here on my channel every Wednesday. I'm sending you guys so much love and light. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you next time.